Hello everyone, welcome back to Georgia Paper Crafts. Today I'm working with the Simon Says Stamp February card kit of the month, window frames. I am so happy that I got this. This is so cute. I think it's going to be great to make some cards with, goodness. But I want to do a quick run through of what comes in the kit and then we'll get started. So let's see. Yep, my lollipop's right there. Banana today, that's pretty good. All right, so let's start with the stamp set. This is a 6x8 stamp set and it's called the window frame stamp set, and it has 3 different window frames that you can cut out using the die that comes in the kit. This is the Trio window wafer thin die. Put it over that and it'll cut it out. Then you can use these shaker pouches. Now this is from My Favorite Things, and you only get one of them here, but I did happen to buy some more. I think these are the same ones at my local craft store, so I do have some more so that I can make more than just one of the shaker cards. But one does come in the kit along with the die that I talked about. This 6x6 stamp set, again with the hearts, some flowers, and some balloons. You can make 3 different kinds of cards. You also get these Buttons and Galore's Sprinklets Embellishments. So this is Sweetheart Embellishments. It's a whole pack of them. It's going to be great for putting into your shaker cards. They're very cute hearts. Then here we've got Nouveau Water Droplets Pure Sheen Gemstones. You got a jar of that. They're pretty. Let's see if I can get it open. So, just like a little raindrop. I don't know if you see that. Very pretty. It almost has a greenish bluish kind of hue to it. So we get 1 jar of that. We get a roll of 1/8 inch Scor-Tape. This is great. This is double-sided adhesive and will come in very handy. We get the Timeless Rose craft papers. This is a 6x6 papers from Polkadoodles, and it's eight pieces, all single-sided. And these are nice, thick quality papers here. Very pretty. Light muted pinks and reds. Love theme. Very nice. Then we also get 3 envelopes in the colors of metallic cotton candy, metallic silver, and it says ivory, but I got white. And again, this doesn't look metallic to me, so I think I just got regular cotton candy. That's fine. I don't use a lot of the you know, envelopes. I don't know. I seem to always gravitate toward just basic white ones, but that's okay. I've got a stash, that's for sure. And then we get our cardstock that comes in the kit, and we have 1 piece of the Schoolhouse Red, 1 piece of the cotton candy, and 1 piece of ivory. So lots to work with. I'm looking forward to this, and I'm going to go ahead and get started making some cards.
All right, so starting out with card number 1, I wanted to use this pattern paper. Pattern paper was so cute in this set, and I decided what I'd do is I'd go ahead and cut down this striped pattern paper. And like I say, this pattern paper is pretty thick quality, so I knew that I could stamp on it and color on it, and it would stand up to all of the ink. So here I'm using the Heart window frame die. Not die, but stamp. And I am stamping it with my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. Trying to get a good image here. And then I'm just pulling out some of the other single heart stamps in the set, and I'm just placing those around, trying to fill in the pattern. And this piece is cut just slightly smaller than 4.5 by 5, or 4.25 by 5.5. Now I'm going to color it in using my Copic markers. At first I chose a couple of Copic markers and I didn't like it, so I changed up, and the Copic markers that I used were RV29, RV17, and then I went around the whole outside with C1 just to kind of highlight everything, and you'll see that here shortly. But I'm just kind of doing a real quick 2-blend coloring, nothing fancy at all. Trying to make sure that I color enough to where, you know, when it cuts it out, there won't be a open spot. Now, I will say that I had a love-hate relationship with this card kit. Obviously, it's absolutely adorable as far as I really love these window frames, the hearts and the flowers. The balloons are not together. The frame itself is not together. I didn't realize that. So I was a little bit, I wasn't sure about that. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but I didn't quite like that. And I didn't make a card using that because of that. The part that I didn't like about this kit was really, once you worked with these window frame stamps, what else do you have to work with? I didn't have a lot to go on. You know, I made a couple of cards using this, and then I made some using some pattern paper, but after that, I really didn't have a lot to work with, which is somewhat disappointing, just because, you know, you like to have a lot of things to make a lot of cards with, you know, in these kits, and that really wasn't the case. Having said that, I do like what was in the kit, with the exception of the Nouveau drops, like almost like teardrops. I didn't see how they fit with the kit, and I didn't use them. Doesn't mean I won't use them in the future. I anticipate I will, but yeah, I didn't see how they fit. So anyway, enough rambling. Just kind of going to go ahead, and once I'm finished with the coloring, I'm going to get this cut out, trying to get it lined up as best I can. As you can see here, I got it lined up, and I cut out some of that cotton candy solid cardstock in the back to back it with, and here I'm using some of the sentiments from the set. I am using Love You, Big Hugs, and in the middle, I can't remember exactly what that one says, but I'm going to go ahead and get them all stamped in there, and as you can see, I just kind of temporarily adhered it using some purple tape to my cotton candy cardstock. I'm using Schoolhouse Red ink to stamp this. And oh yeah, it says Love You so very much, Big Hugs. So now I'm using some of the 1/8 inch Scor-Tape that came in the kit to put onto the back of it so that I can add my shaker window that came in the kit. I'm going to go ahead and do that, get that all adhered. Taking a look at that, and I don't know, you know, I don't make a lot of shaker cards, so I kind of didn't do a real good job with this. I probably should have done this the opposite way, but here, so I'm doing all this, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere it. Well, I didn't put any adhesive in between these windows, so when I shake it, everything falls to the bottom. So you can see here that I did that, and I'm like, okay, well, let me undo this and redo it. So I decided to go ahead and put some more of that 1/8 inch Scor-Tape along the side there, just to kind of separate all the windows from each other, so I don't have all my bits and pieces, confetti pieces, heart confetti pieces here falling down. Now these heart confetti pieces are actually a little bit larger than you would think, and I think I maybe put too many in there because it didn't shake real well. And because I had already previously put some adhesive on it, some of them had, I think, some adhesive on it. So on the top window, it got stuck in there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to get it to release. I think you'll see it in the final picture. But what happens is I've got a couple of the hearts kind of stuck to the background, and they won't move, and they're kind of covering up the word. So that was a little annoying, but again, you know, card making is all about, you know, just enjoying yourself and trial and error. So here I wound up just cutting it down completely, all the way down to not even have a matting, just covered it flush. Here I'm trying to get that piece to release, but I can't get it to release. Then I'm going to come in with, this is a tube of, and you might have seen me use it before, something like a glossy accents. I think I got this in a Hero Arts monthly card kit, maybe even a year back, and I'm still using it. So it's essentially like a glossy accent, and I'm just going over all of the hearts with this. And once I do that, I'm going to set it aside to dry. And I actually set it aside probably overnight. Actually, I know I did. I set it aside overnight to dry. Just trying to do my best to get it on there without getting any bubbles. All right, and here you can see this has dried overnight. I'm coming in with my white gel pen, and I'm just adding some highlights to the hearts, just to give it a little bit extra accent. Still trying to get that piece to release, and I can't get it to. So, and that's it. See, you can see it right there, right at the love. That's it for card number 1. I liked how it turned out, with the exception of that piece kind of sticking in there. Now this one I went ahead and stamped, same way I did previously, but this is Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I am using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. I will have all the colors listed below, and I'm just coloring it with some reds and pinks, kind of keeping with the love theme. I'm going to go around the whole project and do all of them. And once I'm finished with that, I'll of course cut out the center and look to make this into another shaker card. Now or in the kit, there is only one shaker pouch that comes in there. So I had previously purchased another pack of the MFT shaker pouches so that I could make more shaker cards. But I will say, after I did this one, I got a little frustrated with myself because I didn't feel like they were turning out real well, so I had to just stop making shaker cards for right now. I might go back and make some more later, but right now, after finishing this one, I was a little frustrated too. So here I'm trying to use a little bit of color. This is English lavender, I believe, and I'm using it to try to pull out some, you know, just some highlight around the hearts. Well, of course, for some reason I always do this. I color, and I'm coloring around red, and I forget that red will pull right on out. It just, it's like the water in that just you know, pulls the red out, and it just goes everywhere. So as much as I tried to not have a lot of the red pull out from the coloring that I did, I wound up with some, and you can see that. But again, I just went with it. It is what it is. And, you know, in the end, I still thought it was okay. You know, it's an original. It's something I made, and that's what it's about, a handmade card. So I was fine with that. Yeah, you can see all the kind of red. It's almost like a purplish reddish tint to it. I'm trying to dry it a little bit before I proceed, but yeah. Went ahead and cut out the window there, and I'm just trimming this down just a little bit because I thought it was too big. Looking to back that with a piece of this. Now this is some pattern paper, pink pattern paper, and I'm again going to be stamping Love You and Big Hugs. So Love You twice and the Big Hugs in the middle. This time I'm going to go ahead and use my Scor-Tape on both sides of the shaker window. And this time I'm going to bring in some different shaker pieces. I'm trying to bring in some pieces from my stash. I will be bringing in some hearts and some sequins just from my stash. You can see here, put in some. And I think I think I overfilled it. I mean, even though it doesn't look like a lot, it doesn't seem to shake real well. And again, I don't know if that's because these are a lot smaller than you think, but they just didn't, I don't know, it didn't shake real well. But having said that, again, I still think it looked okay. I'm going to glue all that to a red mat, and then I'm going to put it on the card. Just going to go over that with some of my Tonic Nouveau shimmer pen. Bring in some of my white gel pen to try to do some highlights again. Didn't show up as well as it did on the other one. First I thought I might want to put a sentiment there, but then I decided no. And I decided to bring in some of these Pretty Pink Posh Valentine rhinestones from my stash just to add a little bit more bling. Just kind of scattering them throughout the card. And that's it for this one. I'd say not bad. Turned out okay, but wasn't great. Now moving on to the flower window frames. I am heat embossed 2 of them onto black. So this is one with a copper embossing powder from Ranger, and I am embossing the sentiment "Thank you for everything" on there. Same color in the copper embossing Ranger embossing powder. And I also did one in gold, and this is Simon Says Stamp Gold embossing powder, and this one's going to say "Happy Birthday." Both of these look very cute, but I think that I had the window frame a little bit crooked. You can kind of see it's a little bit crooked, and you'll see that when I cut them down. They're not real even. I don't think it's that noticeable, but you know, it is a little bit crooked. And luckily I am not somebody who absolutely will toss something when that happens. But now here, both of them, since they're both on black cardstock, I decided to use my Gansai Tambi watercolors. This is the Starry Night pack, and it has all of these metallic golds and pearl colors. And I'm just going to color in the flowers and the stems, trying not to get it everywhere. For some reason it seems like I kept going out in lines. I just purchased this set probably a couple months ago, and I've really enjoyed it. I know a lot of crafters on YouTube have used it and do have it, and that encouraged me to buy it because I thought it was so adorable. And And I think it makes some really pretty cards, especially with the florals. And of course, using it on the dark cardstock is always a stunning look. So just filling all of this in. I'm going to fill in the 2 leaves that I put surrounding the happy birthday. Just going over that to try to deepen that color. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of this gold and try to fill in these little bit of almost like berries, but it's having a little bit of trouble there just getting the color to lay. Get the one off to the right for some reason. It's okay though. Now I'm going to bring in the copper one, and this time I'm going to bring in my brand new gem colors, metallic gem colors from Gansai Tambi, and these are brand new to me. You know, I do have some colored, metallic colored watercolors, the fine tack, but I wanted to try these. These were relatively inexpensive. I bought them off of Amazon and wanted to kind of see if I felt they were just as good and see if the colors were just as vibrant. And what I found is, yeah, they really are. They're very pretty on this black cardstock and show up very well. The key when using these kind of colors is the metallic colors is to not over water down your color, because then it just kind of pools there and you don't see the true color. So just try to put just very little bit of water and get it wet and mix it up, and then you'll get more of the pigment onto your brush, thereby putting it onto your cardstock. So the very first ones that I did, I had too much water on my brush and the green color didn't come through as much. So as you can see here, I've kind of thickened it up or gotten rid of so much water, and I'm going back and going over it so that I can get that true color. And that green is just gorgeous. Like I say, this is a great set, very inexpensive. And something you could use if you like to color flowers. It'd be a great piece, especially if you like to do, you know, colored cardstock. You could use it on different colored cardstocks too. That'd be great. Just finishing up here, putting a little green in the greenery. Now both of these pieces I am going to do some flicking. So here I'm going with a little bit of blue splatter, and a little bit of red splatter, just kind of putting it all over. I'm going to bring in my Starry Night set again, do some gold splatter here, and then also some pearlescent white splatter. I'll set these both to the side to dry, and they both did dry. And as you can see here, I'm going to trim them down. I'm trimming them down essentially to 3 inches by, I believe it's 5 and a quarter. And this one really seems a little bit off, like crooked. Not this one here, the gold one, is not as off as I believe the other one, the copper one. When I say off, I mean it just seems a little crooked. And again, once I get it straightened out, you'll kind of see it and you might know what I'm talking about. So here I decided, okay, I've got all these foils from Queen & Company. Let me use some of this 1/8 inch Scor-Tape and make my own little, you know, foil accents. So here I am using the gold, and I pull up the Scor-Tape, put the foil down, pull it up, and the foil adheres to the Scor-Tape. And it makes my own little embellishment, my own, stripe, which I think is very pretty. Here I'm going to do the same, and this time I'm going to use a little bit of the reddish purple color. But what you see here is I'm off just a little bit with my Scor-Tape. It's not flush against the cardstock, but there's not much I can do about it now, so I left it. But I am going to trim up the ends just to try to make it look a little bit more clean. I'm going to do this on both of them. Now this one is backed on a gray cardstock. That one got a little bit of a rough edge when I was cutting it, so I'm just trying to file that down. And here I added some just rainbow gems from my stash from Pretty Pink Posh. And I'm sorry I went through that very quickly, but here is a final look of those two. Now this card I decided to bring out my Distress Oxide inks. This is Picked Raspberry, Abandoned Coral, and Candied Apple. I decided just to put them onto this is Tim Holtz watercolor paper, and I just put it down heavily and then sprayed it very heavily with my water. And I'm just kind of letting it run together and give me a faux watercolor look. And that's what it did without me having to blend it. Now once it's dry, I am pulling out a die from MFT. This MFT window die. I believe this goes with a shaker pouch, but I don't have that. But it's a window die that you can make into a shaker window. And I cut this out of red cardstock. I'm going to adhere it straight down to the piece that I had inked. I had cut out another window from some of the pattern paper, and of course it cuts out the inner pieces, and that's what I'm using to put in this window. I die cut a stitched heart from MFT, and I embossed Love You on there. And then I also used this train of hearts from Simon Says Stamp. This is an older die. I'm not sure if it's still available. Put that up to the corner. I'm going to glue all of that down to the card base. I'm going to adhere the heart using some glue. And for a final embellishment, I decided I would bring in some of these hearts, these pink, white, and red heart foam embellishments that we got in the kit. And I'm just going to adhere them along the window frame just for additional, additional embellishment here. I really like how that background turned out, and that was so simple, as you saw. I just laid down the color and doused it with a lot of water, let them all run together, and then dry. And look how pretty it turned out. It really did. It did its own blending, which is wonderful. I'm going to go over all these hearts with my Nouveau Tonic Shimmer pen, and that's it for this card. Here's a final look. Now, I will say that these next two cards, I was at a loss for what to make. I didn't want to make another shaker card. I guess I could have made a couple more other, stuff with pattern paper. But here I decided to use a die from my stash. This did not come in the kit, but this is the Heart Parade die from Simon Says Stamp. This is an older die, and when you die cut it, it cuts out the frame and it also cuts out the inner portion. So what I did was I cut it out from this pink cardstock. Actually, this is the pink pattern paper. And then I cut it out from solid pink cardstock, and I'm inlaying all the pink outline and the regular pieces, and then I'm gonna put some of the pattern paper over the pink solid paper. So I'm using different, I think I cut out 2 different patterns of paper, and I'm just alternating them and putting them down. And this piece of pattern paper is cut out to be, I believe, 3 inches by probably 5.5, or a little bit longer than that. I'm going to cut off the edges. So again, just going through and finding which piece fits where. And of course I have a lot left over, so that's where I get my next card from. Doing this very same thing because I hate to waste all these pretty pieces. So as you can see, I decided, okay, I'm going to bring in another, what other piece can I make a card with? So I chose this one, and I'm going to do the very same thing. I'm going to cut this out, the heart braid die out, cut it out, inlay it with, now this is some metallic pink cardstock from Tim Holtz. And I'm just inlaying just this very same way like I did before, inlaying all the pieces that go in there, and then I will alternate some of the pattern paper over that, so it gives it a dimensional look with the pattern paper and then the metallic paper behind that. And just gluing these down using my glue here. And even after doing these 2 cards, I still had so much left over. Off camera, I made a couple more cards with it because I just, again, I hate wasting, you know, some of these. You could have saved, I mean, I guess I could have saved it for another time, but since I had everything out, I decided to go ahead and make other cards off screen. And I figured you seeing me make 2 was enough. So just cutting that down also to fit. And then here I am going to stamp "Love You So Very Much." Well, what I realized was that "so very much" is a little bit crooked on one of these, and I believe it's this one. So here I'm going to pull out my Love from Lizzie red peel-off stickers. And this is where I realized that it was off. See how that sticker kind of goes right across it right there? That's how I know that it's on crooked. Now, I'm not sure if it's crooked from the stamping or if it's crooked from the card stock being crooked, cut in a crooked manner. I don't know, but both of them look wonky, so maybe it's the stamping. So what I decided was to go ahead and cut down some pink paper, re-stamp that "so very much," and then cut it out and go ahead and put that over it. So then I'm going to bring in some more of those pretty pink plush Valentine's Day mix rhinestones and just kind of scatter them throughout the card. These are a really pretty pink, red, and white color. Using my jewel picker here, along with my art glitter glue, just to get these adhered down. And maybe final touches on here. And that is it. So here is a look at all of the cards I made. Again, I only made 7 this time, and I apologize. I felt, again, after having some of these mishaps with the shakers and stuff, I got a little frustrated. So only thing I could do was 7 cards, but I do hope you enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Simon Says comes out with next month for their card kit, and I'll be looking forward to bringing that to you too. So hope you enjoyed this. Let me know which card was your favorite, and if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks!